Conference
on
will
the
now be
Azure web app.
recorded.
So let's go for a web app where I'm going to name it as Dear Azure. And yes, I've created a resource group, Dear Azure resource group. And let's create a new app service plan. So I was briefing about all these things by yesterday. Dear Azure apps. I've launched it at South India. And let's go for a basic plan. So I'm going to a basic plan where you have manual scaling up to 3 instance and it processes up to storage, which is about 10 GB. You have memory, CPU, SSL, all these things, of course. So let's go across. And further, when you move up towards other plans, you can find that you have more functionalities that gets added up. Let's say if you go for production, you can find slots and all these things. Okay. So as of now, I'll go for a basic plan and I will click on apply where I'm going to create it. Let's click on OK. And yes, let's create this web app. So meanwhile, until it gets created, I'll just share you a few useful links. You can go for Azure App Service Plans. Just make sense about the app service plans, the different sort of app service plans which Azure gives you, and what all the functionalities that you get over here. Okay, you can find it here, the maximum instance that you get, the disk space that you will be getting it here. Okay, so make sense with this link. I will put it on a chat box for you guys. Let's check whether it has been created. Excuse me, can you people go on mute, please? So here I have my web app. See, this is the web app which I have created. And it seemed like yesterday we were at the Kudu console where I was hosting my web app with some basic content. And today I'm going to work with something called as File Explorer, right? The normal on your Windows PC, you should find the File Explorer. So I'm at a Mac environment, so better I will get into a VM and from there I will show you guys. So here I'm going to log in towards the Azure portal. Let's just go here and I'll stick on to the Internet Explorer, which I have it here. Let me log into the Azure portal from here. So here we go. I'll give me a second. Yes. So I'll go for portal.azure.com and let's sign in here for my Azure account. I hope I'm audible to you all.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for acknowledging. So here, it's the same that you could see the web app, and I'll get into this web app where you can find this subscription information, all these things, right? So I'm just going to host a HTML file using this published profile information. So this published profile information will be having all your content regarding the FTP. Okay, so you can download this. It says it will not allow me to download. The current security settings do not allow these files to be downloaded. Let's check the security settings. Let's see if I have Google Chrome. What is this? Your current security settings do not allow this file to be downloaded. You need to check something on the server manager. Let's see what is this. Give me 1 second. Let me fine tune this. Okay, we should go for internet options. Do we have downloads here? Yes. Download is enabled, but still I'm not getting it. Guys, can you go on mute, please? Okay, so let's open this. I have a file which I have downloaded. I'll open this with a notepad. Format word wrap. Okay, so now you can just go ahead and you can see. Sorry, I hope it's visible for you now. Yes. So here you can have the publish profile, which has a publish URL. Okay, you have a username, and you also have a password for that. So now I'm trying to connect with this publish URL, username, and password. Yesterday I was working with the Kudu console, right? So now I will go with this publish URL. Let's copy this. And this is your file explorer, right? You have a file explorer on your machine. You just open this and you'll get a username. Let's copy this username and let's go for, excuse me, go on mute, please. Let's copy the password as well and put it across. Let's click at log on to get logged in. Give me 1 second. Yep. Sorry for interrupting. So here, after logging in, you can go see I have logged in towards the root. It was the same which I showed you yesterday. I can even show you now. Let's go here for dear Azure .scm .azure websites.net. And when I log in here, you will get landed at your Kudu console. And in the Kudu console, you can just go for this PowerShell. So in the site, you have root, and here you can find you have the files. You have hosting start, right? The template. And the same you can find it over here as well. Can you find this? Hosting start.html. I hope you can make sense. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an HTML file, a new HTML file. So let's say it's HTML slash HTML. And let's log in for welcome to the Dear Azure session on Azure Web App. Okay, so this is going to be my page content. I'll just save this with index.html. So today we are going to explore a bit more on this. Let me put it on the desktop and now let's open it. I will open it with, see, I have this file. I'll just drag and drop this file on the root panel here. So when I drop this over here, you have this index.html, right? And now again, I'm going to open it, Dear Azure. Okay, it's Dear Azure dot Azure websites.net. And you get the page to be landed up here. Welcome to the Dear Azure session on Azure Web App. That's so simple that you can host your web app using File Explorer. The same can be explored using FileZilla as well. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to explore a lot more stuff. See, you have index.html and the page gets landed up as a home page. The reason is you go for this application settings. And in this application settings, you can find we have given the default pages over here. As it goes scroll down, you can find we have default documents. So whatever the documents that you have here, whatever the pages that you have, it gets checked on your default stuff, okay, based on the priority. So it checks for default.html. There's no default.html or HTML, not ASP. And you have index.html, which gets landed up. So in case if there's no index.html, then you get this hosting start.html, which gets landed up over there. The next point over here is, as you scroll up, you can find that you have the capability where you can set the versioning for .NET, you can set the versioning for PHP, Python, Java, and all these things. So that means that Azure Web App has the capability to support for the entire platforms that you have here. There we go. The next sort of thing that we need to make sense for today is that I'm going to work with something called deployment slots. The deployment slots is nothing but it helps you during the time of staging, it helps you during the time of production. Let's say you're going to come up with a new version of website. Consider you have Flipkart, right? And you have a big billion day which is going to be there on the Flipkart content. The content of the Flipkart website has to be changed by, let's say, 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., something like that. Flipkart cannot manage their data centers saying that I will pull down all my data at 9 a.m. and I will push all my data in, which is the new content, by 9 a.m. message. It's going to take you a lot many time. The second thing is that whenever you work on the staging and the production, you need to get the performance test, which will get the exact load, saying that whether the app service or whether the data center can withstand the exact workloads or not. If it's not going to equalate the exact workloads, then there's going to be a downtime for your website when there are more number of users who are trying to log in at the same time. So to overcome all these things, Azure has come up with something called deployment slots. This deployment slots will be available only on the higher app service plans. So now what I need to do is I need to scroll down. I need to come for scale up operations. You can find scale up here, and I'm there at B1 now. I need to go for better plans. Namely, I will say that I will go for S1 standard. So here you can find that we have staging slots. It supports up to 5 staging slots to use for testing and for deployment before swapping them into production. So now let's click on this apply where it gets updated. So now from basic app service plan, you're getting updated towards a standard app service plan. So that's where we go. It has been updated, and I'm now likely to go for the deployment slots. I'll click on the deployment slots, and here in the deployment slots, you can find that we can add slots here. Let me refresh this page once. Yes, so you can add slot here. Now this slot can have the data content from any of the repositories, let's say from GitHub, or let's say even from let's say from Dropbox or Google Drive, anything as such. Now I'm going to make use of something called GitHub. I hope you guys are there at GitHub. So let's go for github.com/CodeSizzler, and I'll sign in with my account here. So let's sign in here, and I'll create a new repository saying that this is for Dear Azure. Okay. And let's initialize this repository, and I'll create this repository now. So here I am going to give a new content of the site. Now let's say consider this as a new version of the website. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'll open a notepad. Let's open up another HTML document for this. Let's say, hi all, welcome to Dear Azure session version 2. Okay. So this is going to be the new content, and I'll save this with the same name. It should be the same name. Make sense, please. It will be the same name, and inside this new folder, I will save this index.html. So now let's upload this file, which is the new one, index.html. Okay. So I'm going to upload this file now here. Let's click on commit changes, and you have the file here. Let's go to the deployment slots now, and I will add the slot here. Let's click on add slot, and I will say slot. or let's say CodeSizzler as the slot name. And the configuration will be from Dear Azure. Okay. So now it's going to be a master site, which is Dear Azure, and the slot will be available inside the master site. Just for your graphical representation, I can make it here. Your deployment slots are like this. Consider you will be having a deployment slot like, one sec. Yes. So your deployment slots are like this. And consider we are speaking about 3 slots, for example. You have 1 slot. Sorry. Okay. I'm getting it in blue color. Need some boxes to be added up. Okay, let's try. Right? So consider that I'm going to give this as 1 slot. Okay, this will be slot 1. Just makes sense. This is up to this, it's going to be slot 1. And up to this, it's going to be slot 2. And this is slot 3. Okay, so there are 3 slots which is going to be available. So this is going to be like 3 slots that you will be having it. Okay, this is S1, this is S2, and this is S3. Just I'm giving it for your representation. Now the master site is already occupied. Consider this is the master site which is already occupied. Okay. So now what will happen is that this here you have Dear Azure. So I will just add it on the notes. The first slot is where you have the content of Dear Azure dot Azure websites dot net. Now I'm creating another slot, the secondary slot. And for the secondary slot, I have given name as CodeSizzler. So it will be as Dear Azure CodeSizzler dot Azure websites dot net. Okay, so I'm going to add this. So this will be on the second content. Now for this, the source is going to be from GitHub. Can you make sense, guys? Any questions? Are you able to follow?
Yeah, we are good.
Yeah, thank you. So now we have the secondary slot, and for this secondary slot, I'm going to give the source from GitHub. So what I will do is I'm giving the configuration source, which is a Dear Azure. I'll click on OK here. It's getting created. Let's wait for it. Yes. So here we go. You have this site, and just inside this, see, you can find. Can you find this URL? Dear Azure hyphen CodeSizzler dot Azure websites dot net. So it is like this. I hope it's visible to you all. Okay. It is Dear Azure dot Dear Azure hyphen CodeSizzler dot Azure websites dot net. Now I'm going to call the source for this where I need to go for deployment options. And here I've choose the source. I told you that it can support for GitHub, Dropbox, okay, all these things. So let me go for GitHub here. And here in the GitHub, I have already signed in here, so it gets signed in automatically. And let's choose the repository here. It's Dear Azure. Performance test, you can add the virtual load test over here. So let's just click on OK, and it will perform the test for you. Excuse me, go on mute, please, guys. Okay, let's click on OK here, and you'll get the source to be linked up. Successfully set up deployment source. And now let's go for the overview. You can find the link here. Let's click on this link. Can you find this? Version 2. So you have called the source from GitHub. So this is your, I'm sorry, yeah, this is your master site, okay? And this is your new version of it. Now consider it's Big Billion Day. This is the old content, okay? And this is the new content what you have for Big Billion Day. Now Flipkart doesn't need to worry about having a downtime, I mean a big downtime for their website or anything like that. They can just go up here and they can say that you can click on swap, okay? And the swap is from either with a preview or a direct swap. So I will say it is a direct swap. Source is from CodeSizzler and it has to move for the production. So the production is nothing but the first one what you have here, the first one. So let's move the content, whatever you have at the CodeSizzler towards the production site. And from the production site, it will move towards CodeSizzler, which is the secondary site. You can just click on OK and the swap type will happen. See, you're getting the swap which gets operated now. Okay, so the swapping has been done and let's refresh here. Can you find this? The secondary site has the old content and the master site has the new content now. That's where you go with the swapping operation. So there's not a big downtime that's going to happen. So people like Flipkart or Amazon Flash Sale, all these guys will be working on a content where it's going to be already available using VSTS or anything on the cloud. They are going to do the performance test and all these things, okay? And now the content will be available like this. When they perform the swap, your content is going to be changed at a matter of seconds. So that's why we go with an operation called deployment slot. And this deployment slot will be available only with your better app service plans. Okay. So that's for today, and we'll be exploring a lot in more as we go on the web app. Okay. We'll be having a series of webinars which will be continuation of web apps, and then we will go for mobile apps, logic apps, all these things. So you can post me if you have any questions until the topic what we have covered for today. Any questions?
Yeah, Feroz, good morning. This
Yes.
is Satya speaking.
Hi, Satya.
Yes, yes. Can't we do this operation on a basic plan?
No, you cannot do it on a basic plan. Basic doesn't support you for these things. So that's the reason I have shared you this link, which you can see it on the screen. Can you find this basic that we have here? And you have
Yes,
deployment
yes.
slots. Free, shade, and basic will not support you. You need to go for standard, premium, and isolated one.
Yep.
Okay?
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's fine. Any other questions? Okay, I have a message from Karthik. Can you brief again on what we discussed today? As that would be like a revision for us before going through video again. Sure, Karthik. Karthik, we were speaking a bit in detail about the Azure Web Apps. Okay, I was exploring a bit about the application settings where we have the default documents page and versioning of your .NET or PHP, all these, I mean, the pages that you're going to push in. And what we did for today is that we had been working with the app service of scaling up. So I were exploring more about comparing it with the basic plan and the standard plan. So in the basic plan, you don't have anything called as deployment slots. Whereas in your app service plan of your standard, you have the deployment slots available. And the deployment slot will help you to connect your source files from a GitHub or from VSTS or anywhere at the repository to the deployment slots of your website. I mean, the secondary sites of your website. So you can always swap your data content with a minimal downtime, and you can do the performance tests for the actual workloads where you can swap the data from your production site towards your secondary site. So we created a HTML file which was there available on the master site. We also created a new HTML file which is there on the secondary site, and we were working with the swapping operations between the master site and the secondary site. Okay, and please don't get confused. It's not load balancing. It is not at all load balancing. Load balancer is completely different, and this is completely different. This is deployment slot. This is the versioning of the website. This is not load balancer. Load balancer is when you deploy the website on some other app server, and when you try to distribute the loads towards multiple app servers, then that's load balancer. And traffic managers, when you route the traffic towards multiple data center regions, that is traffic manager. This is not load balancer, or this is not traffic manager. This is deployment slots. This we call it as staging or production in other names. That's it. Is that okay? Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do have one question.
Yeah. Hi, Nilesh.
Yep. So I would like to know whether it is somewhere related to continuous delivery.
Yes,
Uh,
it is related towards your continuous integration and continuous delivery. So you can work from your VSTS and you can get it updated as you work from the VSTS.
so in the VSTS, we could integrate these actions to swap.
Excuse me, there's some background noise. What do you say? Come again?
I was I was saying that is there any way to integrate this into our VSTS? Like we are doing the build and running the testing, and then we would like
Yes, you
to
can do that.
swap.
I showed you the deployment source, right? You go to the deployment options, and from the deployment options, you are able to see VSTS. You go to the
Okay.
VSTS and you call the project file from there. You can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Do you have any limitations
That's
for
that.
deployment slots?
Yes, you do have limitations on the deployment slots. You can make sense over here. Uh, okay. I don't think it has been mentioned here. Give me one sec. I will show you. You can go to deployment slots here. Okay, so you have one slot which we have created. Better, what you can do is you go for the scale up. Okay, and before you go for a scaling operation, you go for this details. Can you find this? Up to 5 staging slots. So in S1 standard, you can create only up to 5 staging slots. Are you clear?
Yeah.
So you have a limitation. More than 5, you cannot create it.
So it's in production or in dev test?
This is on your production.
Okay, in production we have 5, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Anything else?
Yeah, Feroz
Well,
Bharat here regarding
yeah.
swap.
Hi, Bharat. Yes.
Yeah, regarding swap, you mean that suppose let's take an example. I have version of 1 in staging server and code version up to in production server. When you did swap from staging to production, automatically the URL which we are trying to browse in the Internet Explorer, it will browse the data which is in production.
Not at all. The URL will not change. Only the content is going to change. See here, the URL has not
The
changed.
URL
It's dearazure.azurewebsites.net. Only the content has changed. Okay. The same for the secondary site as well.
okay. If the,
Yep.
okay.
Well, any other questions?
Yeah, Feroz, this is Arun. Hi.
Hi, Arun.
Yeah, actually, do we get this in Azure hands-on training?
Azure hands-on
Like,
training in the sense?
Azure has hands-on lab.
You mean from the side of Microsoft?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you do have this. Yes, you have it there.
Okay. Because we can just try whatever it is there, and it is also free for
Right,
Microsoft.
yeah.
Login.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
there available.
And also one more thing, we have Visual Studio subscription.
Okay.
Do we get credits for that?
Credits in the sense, you mean your Azure credits? Is it Visual Studio? Give me a second.
No, we have Microsoft Enterprise subscription.
No, you don't. You will not get it. It's enterprise, right? So it's pay as you go. You will not get it.
Okay.
Visual
No,
Studio
actually,
MSDN is different, and Visual Studio Enterprise is different. Visual Studio MSDN, you will be getting the credits, whereas
yeah,
Visual Studio and Enterprise, it's pay as you go. And what you can do is you have, if I'm not wrong, I will just show you.
Yeah.
And go for this msdn.microsoft.com.
Okay.
Someone was asking by yesterday, right? For 12 months or something like that. You can go here
Yes.
and just sign in for the subscriber portal something or subscriptions. You have an option here. Yes, over here.
Okay.
So you can come here and
we'll have to sign in with the registered ID, right?
yes, with the registered ID. So, oops, I don't have that, but you can go for the subscriptions and you can find you'll be having Azure where you will get it for 12 months, something like that. You can find it over here.
We have both MSDN subscription and also enterprise subscription.
Cool, then no problem. You can just use that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, cool.
Hello, hi Feroz.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt. Can you guys find it here? Azure free account plus $200 credit with 12 months free services. You can try using this. Go for this.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Hi.
Hi Feroz. Under scale up option, I saw the isolated one option will be there. Can you explain me what that isolated?
Yeah, sure. This one, right?
Yes.
So this isolated is nothing but you're going to get like a network isolation. Your VNet and all these things are going to be separate. Okay. Here you don't have an option to put up your virtual network or anything like that. But whereas in isolated, you will get your own virtual network addressing. So that's why we go for isolated. We'll be working on this as we go. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You can find more details over here. You have this isolated. You can find isolated and you can make sense with the specifications. See, you can scroll down and yes, you get all these features, WebSockets, SSL, and you get the feature for VPC, I mean VNet on Azure as well. So that's another one that you get. Well, any other questions?
I believe
Okay.
you're done.
Yeah, it's all
So
to
can
the
I
hands
take
of Kasam now.
Okay. Thank you, Feroz.
Yeah, no
Thanks a
problem.
lot for this amazing session again.
It's all my
Well,
pleasure.
guys,
Thank you.
yeah. So, guys, like today we saw what about all about deployment slots. There are much many more coming into like for Azure apps. As said, like mobile apps is there, then logic apps will be there, API management would be there. So all things would be covered. Why we are not hurrying up in this session is we want to try, we want to give you a demo for each and every feature very in a clear manner. We do have only 1 hour, so we cannot cover this huge topic in 1 hour. But as on we go for the future webinars, we will be surely coming up with all those features. Like Azure web app has an feature named continuous development, which is even used for CI/CD purpose, that is continuous integration and continuous deployment. So that is another great feature, or you can say super cool feature in Azure app, similarly to deployment slots. So we will be covering up all these topics as we go for the future webinars. And again, thanks everyone for joining. And really, it was a great Q&A session again. Many of the queries were solved. Um, I just wanted to update with the coming up webinar that is on the coming Saturday, the next Saturday weekend, and it would be covering about everything about virtual machines. That is Azure virtual machines on Windows and Linux both. It would be the speaker would be Kishore Chaudhary, and he's again from CodeSizzler. He's a lead training associate in with CodeSizzler, and he will be presenting us with the demo about how to create, how to manage, what all things need to be taken care while creating a VM. What are the best practices for having Azure VM on place? So that will help you again for your hands-on purpose. Like when you go for any free credit for Azure or any free account or any with the subscription, and if you want to make your hand dirty with all this Azure products, so the main thing, the first entry point would be the web apps and virtual machines. So I would request you all, I will share the link details and uh, again the agenda as you have requested, and it was a very great feedback from all of you. So I will try to present, or I will try to publish the topic with agenda along with the webinar joining link. So hope you have had a good session today and an informative session today. Please go, I will upload this video into my YouTube channel. Do subscribe it and go through this video again so that you will be able to master this deployment slots. Thank you again. Thanks all for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, all. Bye bye.
Thank you.